The sanctuary by Lake Serene in the heart of the Emerald Valley, nestled between towering pine trees and the rugged embrace of the Sapphire Mountains, lies Lake Serene, a place so tranquil it feels like the world holds its breath in reverence. This is my favorite place, my sanctuary, where the chaos of life melts away, and every visit feels like a chapter in a story that's uniquely mine. Let me take you back to a summer when Lake Serene became more than just a place. It became a turning point in my life. It was the summer of 2023, a time when my life felt like a tangled knot of deadlines, expectations, and the relentless hum of city living. I was 28, working a demanding job as a graphic designer in Seattle, my days blurring into nights spent staring at screens. I was good at my work, but I felt hollow, like I was designing someone else's life instead of living my own. My friends noticed it, my family worried, and deep down, I knew I needed an escape. That's when I remembered the cabin by Lake Serene, a place my grandmother used to take me to as a child. The cabin wasn't grand, just a modest wooden structure with a slanted roof, a creaky porch, and windows that framed the lake like a painting. It had been in our family for generations, a quiet retreat my grandmother called the place where your soul can catch up. She'd passed away 5 years earlier, and I hadn't been back since. The thought of returning felt like a call from the past, a whisper to reconnect with something I'd lost. I packed a small bag, told my boss I needed a week off, and drove 3 hours north to the valley. The road to Lake Serene was a winding ribbon through dense forest, the air growing cooler and crisper with every mile. When I finally pulled up to the cabin, the sight of the lake hit me like a wave of nostalgia. Its surface was a mirror, reflecting the snow-capped mountains and a sky streaked with pink and gold as the sun began to set. The pines stood like silent sentinels, their scent filling the air, and the only sound was the gentle lapping of water against the rocky shore. I stepped out of the car, and for the first time in months I felt like I could breathe. The cabin was just as I remembered it, simple, cozy, and timeless. Inside, the walls were lined with bookshelves, filled with my grandmother's collection of novels, field guides, and journals. A stone fireplace sat in the corner, its mantel adorned with old photographs and a carved wooden loon. I spent that first evening unpacking, lighting a fire, and sitting on the porch with a mug of tea, watching the stars emerge one by one. The silence was profound, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustle of leaves. It was as if the world had slowed down just for me. The next morning, I woke to sunlight streaming through the window, painting the wooden floor in golden patches. I decided to explore the lake's edge, something I used to do as a kid. Armed with my grandmother's old walking stick and a journal I found on the shelf, I set out along the shore. The lake was crystal clear, its depths revealing smooth pebbles and darting fish. Wildflowers, purple lupins, and yellow buttercups dotted the path, and I found myself sketching them in the journal, something I hadn't done for pleasure in years. As I walked, I felt a stirring inside me, a spark of creativity that my job had long since buried. That afternoon, I stumbled upon something unexpected. A small, weathered dock hidden behind a cluster of willows. Tied to it was a rowboat, its paint chipped but sturdy. A memory flashed, my grandmother teaching me to row, her laughter echoing as I fumbled with the oars. I climbed in, pushed off, and glided onto the lake. The water was so still it felt like I was floating on glass. In the center of the lake, I stopped rowing and let the boat drift. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth of the sun and the gentle rocking of the boat wash over me. For the first time in years, I felt at peace, not just with the world, but with myself. Over the next few days, Lake Serene became my muse. I spent my mornings hiking the trails, discovering hidden waterfalls and moss-covered rocks that looked like they belonged in a fairy tale. I sketched everything, the curve of the mountains, the way the light danced on the water, the silhouette of a deer drinking at dawn. In the evenings, I read by the fire, diving into my grandmother's journals. They were filled with her thoughts, sketches, and stories of her own time at the lake. One entry read, "This place doesn't just hold beauty, it holds you. Let it remind you who you are." Those words hit me hard. I'd forgotten who I was, caught up in the grind of life. Here I was rediscovering her and myself. On my 5th day, a storm rolled in. The sky turned slate gray and rain pattered on the cabin's roof, a soft percussion that lulled me into a trance. I sat by the window, watching lightning flash over the lake, and I started to write, not a journal entry, but a story. It poured out of me, a tale of a woman lost in the city who finds herself in a place much like Lake Serene. The words felt alive, like they'd been waiting for this moment. By the time the storm cleared, I had 10 pages and a fire in my chest I hadn't felt since art school. As my week drew to a close, I realized Lake Serene had given me more than a break. It had given me clarity. I didn't want to be a cog in someone else's machine anymore. I wanted to create, to tell stories, to live with intention. When I returned to Seattle, I started making changes. I took on freelance projects that excited me, enrolled in a creative writing course, and planned regular trips back to the cabin. Lake Serene wasn't just a place. It was a turning point, a reminder that I could choose my own path. Now, whenever life feels overwhelming, I return to Lake Serene. I walk its trails, row its waters, and let its quiet beauty ground me. It's where I found myself again, and every visit feels like coming home. The lake, the cabin, the mountains, they're not just a backdrop. They're characters in my story, whispering the same truth my grandmother once shared. This place holds you if you let.